Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Rough is alongside me, Barry Ferguson and Tam McManus as well. It is Friday. Great to have your company on this, the 22nd of May. And we have got lots to talk about. And over and above that, we will be reacting to some of the points that you're putting to us on Facebook Live and, of course, on YouTube Live as well. Don't forget to like, share and follow us on Facebook. And thank you to everyone for the figures. It's been unbelievable, the support we have. And over and above that on YouTube, the subscriptions, fantastic, and the people just tuning in, day out. And the great news is you can actually just watch the whole programme on your telly, because all you need to do, Roughie, get to the old Sky, go down to apps, hit YouTube, and there it is in full Technicolor on your telly as well, Roughie.
Yeah, I have mastered it, yes, Peter, but obviously, you know what's happening. If I mastered it, I'd be looking at it while we're talking, and there'd be a distraction. It'd be a distraction. I wouldn't be able to do two things at the one time.
Yeah. Okay, there you are. Well, that kicks that right in the teeth. No point in telling everybody else about it. Anyway, apart from anything else, just got to mention lots of people who tune in and pass on some great messages. Today, guys, you'll never believe it, I got a brilliant message, just a wee gift from Aussie. And this is from Martin Connolly, who sent us, I don't know if you used to do this, Tam, but he sent us a mix CD from Australia just to help in lockdown, which I thought was a fantastic gesture. So thanks to Martin for that. And he says, I hope you guys enjoy the music and reminisce over a few drinks. Love the show and the banter. He's been 32 years in Australia. So all the best from Martin. Thank you very much for that. Very kind. And here's an absolute belter, Roughie, I've got to show you. This one's from David Thompson that came in today as well. And David says, I was just about to throw these out and I thought you might get a wee laugh. So I sent them over to you, Peter. So David, thank you very much. And I don't know if you can see that, guys. I'll try and put it as close as I can to it there. And there is the bold Roughie in his chewing gum card, which is not... Do you remember that day, Roughie?
Yeah, there's a question out there for everybody. What is that jersey that I was wearing there?
Okay, and that's the Ray Clements England competition jersey. And also, Roughie, that's what you were putting on a wee bit. Oh, hey.
His hair looks better there.
Tammy's putting on a bit of weight in this one, isn't he?
What's happening inside ginger?
Look at you
coming through there, Roughie.
No, just a bad photographer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I mean, it's absolutely magnificent. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but he sent us these cards here. I don't know about you, Roughie, but Tony Higgins looks like a Mexican bandit. Tony Higgins looks like a Mexican bandit, doesn't he? It's absolutely fantastic. So thanks to David Thompson as well. What a lovely gesture from so many people. We've got lots to talk about today, including this. I don't know if you remember this, Barry, but Tam... Because Barry and I have been friends for such a long time, and this is a very specific day, Tam, you won't like it, neither will Roughie. 22nd of May, 2005, the helicopter changed direction. And I went over to Barry's house, and I think you were happy with your T-shirt as well, Barry. There it is there. And me, you and Bob played a bit of pool and laughed our heads off at that particular day, which will live long in your memory, I presume.
Yeah, I'm surprised you've still got it, Peter. I was think you'd have maybe burnt that. No, that's good
Peter,
memories. Good memories.
Peter, you've changed. You've changed. You're pandering now to the Rangers fans. Pandering.
No. He's like, listen, he's my pal.
Shocking.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Must be
exactly.
Nice.
See, that's the problem. Listen, Celtic Rangers fans can be friends, Tam.
I thought it was only...
There's nothing up with that.
Yeah, I thought it was only staunch people allowed at your pad.
It was Bob's pad.
Oh, was it?
It's actually, we went to...
I'd have been even more staunch.
we went to Bob's and had a 99. It was magic. Anyway, apart from anything else, it was a good day. It was a good laugh. That was after it. No, I wasn't on the night, by the way, because I think you would have been absolutely plastered on that night, Barry. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that party lasted 3 or 4 days, Peter. It's always special when you eventually win it in the last game of the season. So, no, that was a party that I can only remember bits and bobs of the 3 days that I was out and enjoying myself.
Yeah, strange thing about that, Roughie, and I always remember it from the commentary of that particular day in 2005. I mean, Celtic, all they had to do was go and beat Motherwell. It's as simple as that. And Scott McDonald produced 2 absolute crackers to finish them off as they get deeper and deeper and just couldn't get the goal they were looking for. The one thing that stuck in my head, though, Roughie, to explain that whole helicopters changing direction, I can remember in the morning the guy from the SPFL talking away, and he was basically with the trophy and the helicopters behind him, and he said, well, we'll go up in the helicopter with the trophy, and then, more than likely you'll be heading to Fir Park to hand the trophy over to Celtic. And I can always remember when we were doing the commentary, Davy Provan and myself, and Scott McDonald hooked the ball into the roof of the net, Tam, and the only image in my mind was that report from the morning on Sky Sports, and I actually remember thinking, oh, wait a minute, the helicopter's changing direction. It's heading to Easter Road now. Rangers are going to win the title. So that's how that whole thing came about. But it was just the most unbelievable finish, Tam, to a league season.
No, it was. I remember sitting watching it in the house, and I was getting ready to go for a pint. And I took my shoes and my shirt back off and put my pyjamas on. As soon as Scott McDonald scored the second goal. Along with the rest of the family. So it was dramatic. It was a great ending to the season. If you were a Rangers fan, it was thrilling. And I seem to remember, obviously, I think Hibs were getting into Europe. I think it was a case of knocking the ball about for the last 10 minutes at Easter Road or whatever it was. Both were happy with that result. Yeah.
See, to be honest with you, it was the strangest feeling. See, when we had scored, obviously Hibs, if they get beat, only had to lose with 1 goal and they were getting into Europe, as Tam said. And it was kind of the last 5 minutes. Hibs sat back and they just let us have possession. We were just playing the ball about. It was a strange one.
I don't think there's any suggestion of anybody lying down. I mean, Nacho Novo scored the goal, and from there, listen, the whole thing, Roughie, was in Celtic's hands that day. All they had to do was beat Motherwell and couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I looked at the Celtic team. It was some lineup. It was a fantastic full 11 out there on the park. All the big stars were all playing. And they knew what they had to go for. And you're right, they had chances in that game before Scott McDonald scored. There could have been 2 or 3 nothing up, but that's the way these games go. You don't take your chances, and all of a sudden Scott scores, and then pressure sinks in. And obviously, I'm sure all the supporters knew what were happening from ground to ground, and it must have been really eerie on the park, particularly Easter Road. I mean, Barry's already said, you're keeping a hold of the ball and they're keeping possession, and nobody's. I think there was a game. Was there another game, something like that in the World Cup? Was it Germany and Austria?
Yeah,
similar, nothing each or something like that, and it was the
Saudi
same.
Arabia were far from happy.
That's right. They didn't want to lose the game, but no, you take it as it comes. It's the last game of the season. Everybody knows what's at stake. You either take it or you don't.
Yeah, and I think Peter Tierney's very much like you, Tam. He says, right, I'm turning off if this is what we're going to be talking about. The mere mention of that helicopter. I'm only kidding. He says, I'll never forgive Tony Mowbray for that day. It's amazing how the contrast in people's feelings towards that helicopter Sunday. Just out of curiosity, Barry, when you were playing in that game, was there a moment where you sensed from the crowd, hey, wait a minute, this is on? Because did you not swear on that day to somebody when you were in your team?
No, I jumped on Alex Ray's back about a minute to go because I knew, listen, it was at that stage where the bench were giving us signals that there was a minute to go. The game at Fir Park had just finished early, so I think a minute or 2 before us. So it was a weird feeling, Peter. I've never been involved in that. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be involved in 2 of them, but the one at Easter Road was.
Hey, that's what you call timing. Hey, Tam, that's what you call timing.
I'm glad you cut him off. Just about he's gone into his Rangers story. You've just binned him. That was brilliant. Let's talk about Hibs now. What a fantastic season that was for Hibs. They finished third and got to Europe. I mean, I think that was the main story of the day, Peter.
You couldn't, honestly, you couldn't write that. He'll be raging. He'll think I've cut him off for some reason. There's a conspiracy coming up. Wait, you see him? Wait, you see his face when he comes back? But we have to let him talk about it. It was funny actually. There he's got a wee smile.
Okay.
He's gonna smile. He did have a smile on his face.
He's got dentures.
Moving on.
Yeah. Just as Barry was just about to get into full Rangers mode on what happened in that day, Roughie, he get cut off. I mean, honestly, you couldn't pick that. Look, he's frozen there with a cheesy grin.
When he comes back on, we'll just move on to something else.
Peter,
If he come back on and none of us were here.
Yeah.
Peter, maybe his father-in-law cut a line there just as he was getting into talking about it.
Anyway, apart from anything else, that's brilliant. Anyway, apart from anything else, it was one of those mental days. Hi to Gary McGurn. Great that you're joining us, Gary. Also, Stephen Hill as well, and Doogie Liddle. Lots of people who regularly join us. Barry, honestly, we're just saying we couldn't have timed that better. We lost you in mid-Rangers story. Go on, tell us what was it?
It's funny, I never get cut off Monday or Tuesday when all the Celtic talk was happening, was it?
Go on. What was going through your head? What was going through your head?
Peter, as I said, see, normally in games, you don't realise what's happening when you're on the park because you're solely focused on what you're doing for your team. But it was a strange one. We kind of knew we were getting vibes for the bench, and obviously with the fans behind the goal. They kind of were obviously letting roars off, and within a minute or two to go, the game had ended at Fir Park, and then that's when I kind of knew we had won it. But you've still got to try and be professional with a minute or two to go. But I couldn't help myself. I ended up jumping Alex Ray's back, and then I'm thinking to myself, right, listen, come on, refocus again. You've got a minute to go. So strange. It was a strange feeling, Peter.
Well, I'll tell you, it was just a dramatic ending. And over that period, I think, certainly the early 2000s, there were some unbelievable finishes as Rangers and Celtic were going tit for tat on it. Tam Colin Gibson, who's a regular on our Facebook, says, "What a pity Tam never gets cut off." so clearly there are people who obviously, it's one of those things. It's called having a half decent Wi-Fi. And Norman Heaney says, "Tam, I was like you. I threw my Celtic top in the bin and I went straight to bed." So you can tell that's the joy of title race for fans.
I felt that. Peter, I felt that way on Monday myself.
Yeah,
went into bed early. I was in my bed 7 o'clock.
Rangers tracksuit off, Rangers pajamas on, bed.
That was it. Tam knows me.
Yeah, absolutely. It affects everybody in different ways. We've had lots of great compliments, of course, about the show and people tuning in. Thank you very much to everyone who's been supporting us. The figures are absolutely magnificent. Of course, we are all desperate to get the football back, Roughie. Today's a day where I would imagine the SPFL board and Neil Doncaster will all be looking over the reconstruction proposal from Anne Budge. I'm wondering where that's going to go. Are we going to get, something coming out in the next hour or so?
Well, I hope they don't dismiss it as quickly as what they did the last time, and coming out with the excuse that this isn't the time or we don't have the time to discuss it. They should certainly take the time to discuss it because we've already debated the fallout from this. We're now talking about, first and second defeat teams not being able to have any income till January. These are the things they've got to seriously take on board. They've got to think about the whole of Scottish football, not just about their survival or how much money they're going to lose in their division. It is a good, healthy Sky TV contract. They must be getting more money than what they've ever got before. So I think it's now time to look at the bigger picture and start maybe thinking about these teams and sharing the money out a wee bit more.
Well, it's exactly as we mentioned on this programme, and we've been, I would go as far as to say, without blowing our own trumpet, ahead of the curve on this one, because I did mention at the start of the month as well, for a number of clubs down in the lower leagues, Tam, that they would not be able to get fans in. They would not be able to do behind closed doors games without the fans, because that's the lifeblood of the game. And I just wonder now, with all the people bumping their gums about this is not the time to have reconstruction. In the next couple of weeks, today, Dunfermline have released 17 players, Tam, from their squad. And that is going to happen right across Scottish football. And you've got the SPFL saying, let's just keep the money. We don't want to do reconstruction right now. I think in the next couple of weeks, they're going to be looking at some serious trouble for clubs with no money and no prospect of getting fans in before 2021 starts.
Yeah, listen, I read that this morning about Dunfermline. 17 players, it's criminal. I mean, these guys are now out of contract, out of job. It's all right for 10 or 11 of them because Barry will sign them. But for the other 6 or 7, it's probably, it's curtains for them. But nah, listen, clubs all over Scotland are going to do that. If they're out of contract, they're going to release you. What I don't understand is, Peter, the furlough scheme, could they have not have signed them on a month-to-month contract? And the government could have paid them even up until October and gave them some sort of income. It wouldn't cost the club anything. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but that was the first thing that came to my mind, that couldn't clubs sign players up maybe on a month-to-month or till January, and at least they're getting some money coming in until October.
You don't know what financial situation clubs are in, even whether they can afford to pay the 20%, Roughie. That's how critical this is.
No, you've got to look at these 17 players. I mean, I don't know who they are, but you would say they would all be on an average of maybe 400 or 500 quid a week. That's an awful lot of money. When you start talking about monthly, and then you start talking about 2 monthly, 3 monthly, and up to 6 months if there's no games. So you've got to sit down and look at the bigger picture. And I'm not just saying this because of Partick Thistle. We're a very well-run club financially, obviously helped by Colin when he was here. But within that, the books we always looked into the future. We always put money away for the future. There's not a lot of clubs have done that. A lot of clubs just sail by the money that's coming in and the budget. If we get a third round of the Scottish, or if we get this or we get that. So some of the clubs that have been very well run financially won't feel the pain of some of the others. But some of the others, who we've already seen are 1.7 million in debt and 3 million in debt and 2 million. These are the guys who are going to really, really suffer. And obviously the lower clubs as well, who live by their own budget. And that's why I keep saying the SPL have to shove everything in the back burner here and think about, just say for the next 2 years, just say, let's go with it for 2 years and help all these clubs out, and then have another look at it. And if it's not working in 2 years' time, let's change it again. But the immediate thing just now is saving clubs. That is the immediate thing.
Peter, I'd like to say, I hope the governing bodies up in Scotland, like say the SPFL, the SFA, even our PFA who support the players, are having talks at this moment in time and coming up with some sort of plan and emergency pot for the hundreds and hundreds of players that are going to be out of contract in a week's time, Peter. Because it's worrying. These guys are going to have no money coming in. They've got bills like everybody else, mortgages, cars, families to feed. So I hope they're coming up with some sort of plan to try and help these guys. I'm not saying pay them full wage, maybe just 50% or 40% of what they were earning, as long as they've got something coming in at the end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we are, listen, if we're flattening the curve on the virus, we're not flattening the curve on the pain, because that's still coming, and I think it's going to increase. Dunfermline's just the tip of the iceberg here, lads, and when you get a situation where Neil Doncaster's talking about the Betfred Cup not even starting, that might not be able to go because clubs can't pay. Clubs can't afford to play in it because of obviously the money they're going to have to pay their players. And then, of course, we've got the SFA chief executive saying that they want the Scottish Cup to be played to a finish, and they're quite happy to play the 2019-20 Scottish Cup in 2021. Now, that gives you a fair indication of, as Roughie said there, and I don't care, Tam, when they play these tournaments and when the rules are in place. As Roughie said, one year, 2 years, change it again. We can change the rules. You change the rules according to your needs.
Yeah, I think the circumstances now, it's unheralded, the coronavirus. I think we've got to try and help every single club. No club should be worse off, and we've said that in this show for months now. No club should be worse off. That everybody's in a bad way just now, and to relegate them, it just rubs salt in the wounds. It just makes it even worse. So try and help clubs, try and get the reconstruction up and running, get clubs promoted, save clubs, save Hearts, Partick Thistle, Stranraer, bring Broder and Kelty up. We keep banging the same drum, but, we don't understand how it's not happening. It would help everybody in a bad situation rather than relegation. It could put clubs out the game. And I say that as an ex-Hibs player, I want to see Hearts saved because I think it's unfair that they're going to get relegated in these circumstances and the club could go to the wall. I don't think Hearts will, or Partick Thistle, but Stranraer could. They've not got the support or the infrastructure of a Hearts or the kind of money of Partick Thistle. So you could lose clubs forever if you relegate them. So I'm all for reconstruction. I just hope they see sense today.
Yeah, listen, even at and it's not so much the 11th hour, because there is no 11th hour at the moment, because we can't see in the future when they're going to allow everybody to start training, when they're going to allow the season to start, and how that format's going to look.
Peter.
Raymond Docherty, yeah?
Peter, see when clubs start training, does that mean the furlough stops immediately as soon as you get back into training?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So at that point, they're hoping that June the 10th will be a situation where players can get back training, obviously with the rules in place with social distancing. And of course, it becomes ever more difficult because when the Premier League in England goes back, people will start saying, well, if it's okay for them, we've got to be allowed to go back as well. And then, of course, it's a case of, I think, Scottish football not only looking to try and save what they have at the moment financially, but I think they'll be looking and saying, can we go to the government, cap in hand, and ask them for money to help some of the lower league clubs? I think that's next on the agenda. Raymond Docherty says on YouTube, can I ask why the fans don't get a vote on an investigation reconstruction? I firmly believe the SPFL has done a deal already with Hearts for reconstruction, so the vote won't matter. I don't think it's about deals now. I think it's about actually looking and just trying to think about the collective. It's not just about Hearts, although I did come out early on and say quite simply that I wanted to see Hearts saved in this whole situation. And of course, I mentioned Partick Thistle as well. And Alan Johnston is just one of many people talking about, different style of league. It could be 16 in the top league, 14, with the season due to start later in the year, says Alan on Facebook. So there's lots of people passionate about it, offering all sorts of permutations in the structure of it. I'd like to see one which is a structure which does allow Brora and Kelty to come in to the league, because before this coronavirus, I was of the opinion, Roughie, that we do not have in Scotland, with just under 6 million people, we do not have the structure to support 42 teams. But if there is a situation, pre-coronavirus, where people were saying, no, let's build a pyramid system and let clubs come up who really have ambition and might replace clubs that just can't function, then, let's all go for it. I was willing to change my mind on it, but I do think when you listen to Barry and you listen to Brora, and Cove Rangers are a perfect example, clubs with ambition want to join the professional league.
Yeah, you've hit it on the nail, Peter. That Cove and Edinburgh City have showed the teams below them that they have ambition, that they have structure, and obviously Kelty have done likewise with Brora. You would like to think the other teams who have just sitting in that wee comfort zone would say to themselves, well, we need to start looking upwards as well. We need to start improving. Look at these 4 teams that I'm talking about. Look at what they've done in such a short space of time. We've been here for 10 years. We've been in this division for 10 years. We're not going anywhere. So ambition is, if more clubs coming into the league with ambition gives the rest of them a wee jaunt, then that's what we want. We want more clubs being positive rather than negative, or just staying in a level they don't want to improve themselves on.
Yeah, Peter, can I just say something? Roughie's bang on. There's a group of teams in there that are just happy to be in League Two and don't want challenged. They're happy just to get their money off the SPFL and just be an everyday club, a running a mill and just stay in the same league. I think there's a fear of clubs who have got a driving ambition to come in, and they're not wanting that kind of challenge, which I think it can only benefit Scottish football as a whole. You want as many as ambitious and driven clubs as you can. I think it will make it a better league as well.
Yeah, Stephen Hill is giving me it tight here, guys. He says, Peter, you probably never mentioned Kelty and didn't care before Barry was the manager. You don't care, to be honest. So there you are, scathing stuff from Stephen again, doing what Tam McManus does and just accuses me of a friendship with Barry and Kelty. I can only tell you that I've been accused of being a Hearts fan as well over the last couple of months. I just feel as if we need to get a sense of perspective on what is happening around us and forget about tribalism. It was a great thing that Wallace Mercer used to mention about it all. Tribalism always exists with fans, but right now I think we should be thinking about everyone and try and save the clubs who will need saving over the next month, believe me, and beyond, when you realise that no fans are going to be allowed into the stadiums up and down the country. And of course, you're probably right. I probably wouldn't have mentioned Kelty or Brora. We wouldn't have had probably their case to think about, Tam, if Barry wasn't on this show. I think if Barry wasn't on this show, we would probably have been more. I'm speaking for myself. We'd probably be more intent in highlighting the need for saving the 42 clubs, and then obviously maybe in passing saying it's not fair that they weren't allowed a playoff. Maybe I am guilty of mentioning it because Barry's been able to force his point through.
Yeah, listen, Barry's got the platform here to do it. And that's the reason that Kelty, one of the reasons they brought Barry in, his profile, what he's done in the game, the influence that he can have. And he's on the show, and he's obviously going to fight Kelty's case to the death. And that's fair enough. So but I definitely think the guy has got a point, though, Peter. I think he's bang on.
Yeah, I'm his mate. you're bang out of order, McManus. Honestly, listen, you've been excluded from 2 trips, and now you're becoming really vicious. That's all I can say about you. It's as simple as that.
He's got to make a name, Peter. He's got to make a name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's trying to make a name for himself.
I'm on Barry's coattails.
Yeah, he's looking for a striker's coaching job with you. Robert Galvin says, hello, Barry, still with us? Robert Galvin says, clubs who come into the league are successful because they are driven and want success more. They deserve respect and recognition, says Robert Galvin. Robert, thank you for that point. We're trying to get through as many as possible. Stephen Hill says, I was only winding you up, Peter. Stephen, we absolutely love it. Listen, we love getting caned. That's what this show's all about. It's dressing room humour. We absolutely love Roughie getting the old baseball bat to the head. That's the joy of it. What we don't like, and we know because we say it as often as we can, we don't like racists, we don't like bigots, and we don't like people who abuse other people on the site. So we try as best we can to ban those idiots and keep all the sensible people like Stephen and so many others who actually join us on the programme on a regular basis. I just wish, Tam, I'd more of these helicopters changing direction T-shirts. I could maybe have sent you one because Barry and Bob Malcolm have signed it there.
I've got a couple of spare ones. I'll send you one up.
Yeah. I'll keep that for November the 5th for the bonfire.
Brilliant, Tam. Listen, here's another thing, and I want to get this is absolutely giving it to you in the teeth, Barry. I mean, I'm looking at the story today, and I have to shake my head sometimes with some of the stuff that's printed that's just a nonsense. I mean, honestly, I just cannot believe the story saying Rangers are going to spend £5 million on Ian Hagi at a permanent transfer. That is just a lot of nonsense. I don't know why that's written. I mean, I honestly think somebody is just in cloud cuckoo land with that one. Rangers are not going to spend £5 million on a guy who's got potential. He's got potential. He's not a £5 million player, and they've got people on wage deferrals, and they're still looking to actually get investment. You don't want to buy a 21-year-old at £5 million. I mean, that's just a lot of claptrap in my mind, unless you're going to tell me different.
No, Peter, I do think he would be worth a gamble or a punt. Because as you say, he's got potential. At least he's been in. He showed glimpses. I'll be honest with you, he's not showed it on a consistent basis. But I think £5 million, I think's it's just crazy money. I think at this moment in time to speak like that when football's in the doldrums up here in terms of finances. But I do think Rangers will sign him. But I don't think it'll be anywhere near that kind of money, Peter.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a nonsense, Tam. I read those things and I think to myself, God, that's just a lot of rubbish. I mean, if you were on a deferral at Rangers and you read that, you'd think, what? You know, I mean, the boy was put out on loan by Genk, and he showed really good glimpses, and I think he'd be a good signing for Rangers. But there's no way he's going to cost £5 million. That's just
no, Peter. I think you're right. I don't think that Rangers have been in the market for £5-6 million players at this moment in time. And you're right. Players are taking referrals at Ibrox, and I refer back to the Hart situation. There's a lot of anger amongst people when they were asked to take wage cuts, and then the article came out that John Murray was scouting for players for the following season. When they were asking the current players to take 50%. I know it's not quite as bad as that, but it's along those lines where you just think, well, why am I taking a wage deferral if you've got £5 million lying about? So no, I don't think Rangers have been. I think they should sign him. I like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's really, really talented, and I think they could sell him on for bigger money, but they'd need to try and get him for maybe 2 to 3 million. I think 5 would be stretching it even for Rangers.
Yeah, and as ever, Roughie, when we mention our opinion on this show, we always like to get a wee credit in the newspapers. They usually do, especially when we ask Barry about Lewis for Rangers. Lewis would. Now, Lewis is a £5 million player. It'd take £5 million to get him out of Aberdeen.
Yeah, you're right. But I nearly fell off my seat there when you said there's journalists out there now writing some truths, compared to what I said the other day.
Hey, what are you talking about?
When I told you about the Partick Thistle story, it was a load of rubbish. I just sort of moved on away. The one about all the players have been told they're getting a 50% wage cut, and I said that's not true, Peter. And you says to me, Are you telling me there's journalists out there not writing truths?
Well, I have to tell you, in the Scottish Football Writers Association, many of the guys that I know are good, hard-working ones, but you always get the one or two who just wave flags. I mean, we know who they are. It's as simple as that. They'll write a lot of claptrap about players that are coming and going at Celtic and Rangers. They do that. That's fine. If that's the way they want to go about their business, that's fine. But no, there's lots of brilliant, hard-working journalists out there who are, in difficult times at the moment. So, yeah, I hope they all survive. I mean, this is much the same as players. But belt up you. That was a good story against Partick Thistle. Have you spoken to them yet? Have you?
No, I told you it was the case. The players have just been sent. The players have just been sent letters, as every player does at this time of the year, particularly more about the financial aspect of furlong and everything, but nobody's been told they're going to take 50% wages. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, furlong is something that a hot
furlong.
That's worse than my WhatsApp.
No, it's no. Your WhatsApp.
It's no. What's up?
My daughter actually said to me, "What's up?" Is that something I've not tuned in?
It's a new Lanark. Yeah, it's a new Lanark. Shut up,
Baz. I'm telling you, by the way, if there's some millionaire technician out there who's going to launch that for us, WhatsApp,
a Scottish WhatsApp.
Aye, and by the way, Tam, if we could get Ronald Villiers on that as well, that would be magnificent. Anyway, fair play to you, Barry, and Roughie, as ever, he's just magnificent with his pronunciations. I love it. Listen, another good thing here that I think it's only right for us to mention, we've got a 1-to-1 coming up with the Ipswich Town manager Paul Lambert. Paul obviously played for St Mirren, Motherwell, Celtic and Borussia Dortmund, as well as Scotland with distinction. And he's got some interesting insights into what he's facing down there with Ipswich Town, which for me was just a fabulous side in the 80s. And he offers his tuppence worth on Scottish football as well. So well worth a listen. And it's great, Roughie, when you think about Ipswich Town, I automatically think Sir Bobby Robson, you think Paul Mariner, Mick Mills, Terry Butcher, the Tyson Murin, the great players John Wark, Alan Brazil.
Yeah, wonderful. And they went so far in European football as well. They were absolutely amazing, and a good Scottish contingent that you just mentioned there as well. But again, it just shows you, some of these clubs are so at their top, and then they obviously lose it for whatever money if they spent too much money. But no, great times at Ipswich.
Yeah,
never been there. I don't know what
there,
kind of place it is. Yeah,
I have been
a place
there.
I've never been. I have never been there at all.
It's a good stadium, Peter.
Yep.
I've played in it. It's a nice stadium. I like it down there. Nice stadium.
Yeah. Can I tell you something? And this is obviously the one thing that sticks in my head, and Tam, you will love this story of my experience of Ipswich. Went down to cover Ipswich, the Alan Hunter testimonial. And Celtic were playing Ipswich Town for Alan Hunter, who was a very well-respected and he got a lot of caps for Northern Ireland. And they went down there to play Ipswich Town, and Ipswich, I think, were leading 2-0 at half-time. And the Celtic fans had obviously been down there in their thousands, and one of them decided to have, how can I put this? One of them decided to have a wee pee on the generator, Tam, and blew the floodlights. so the place was pitch dark, right? It was the whole place was blacked out, and all you could hear was Celtic fans singing in the one end, and we're all looking and we're thinking to ourselves, this game's not going to go on. They couldn't. Were trying to get the generator fixed. And then when they got it fixed and the floodlights on, Celtic came back and won the match 3-2. I'll never forget it. Alan Hunter, a great Northern Ireland internationalist, he wrote that he'd never forget that night of his testimonial, and it was a fabulous, mad, crazy night. But there you are, a Celtic fan decided to do a wee number one on the generator and almost killed his special night off. But Ipswich Town, fantastic. Paul Lambert, he's got some really good things to talk about, and of course we've got an extended interview with Paul Lambert where he talks about 1997, where he won the Champions League with Borussia Dortmund. His job was to man-mark Zinedine Zidane. Now, that's incredible stuff. So, well worth looking at that, Tam. Isn't it amazing? Paul Lambert won a Scottish Cup medal, Tam, at 17. Can you remember with which team?
Yeah, it was St Mirren, wasn't it? Paul Lambert was a tremendous player. I played against him towards the tail end of his career when he was at Celtic, and I was at Hibs. Him and Lennon in the middle of the park too, and were great together. Petrov in there as well. So one of my best friends in football, Stuart Taylor's assistant manager at Ipswich. Stuart's a great pal of mine. So I know they're looking to try and get Ipswich back into the Championship, but like a lot of clubs, bigger clubs down there, they're struggling to get out of that League One.
Here's a question, Roughie, for you. Don Clark says, can Roughie name the goalkeeper who was the smallest keeper ever to play professional football, and he played for Ipswich Town? That's a good one. I think his first name was Paul. Roughie. What was his second name? That's going to annoy me. His first name, I'm almost certain, was Paul.
Yeah, I nearly had it. I'll have it in a minute. Just hold on. I remember him. No, it's not. I know who. I know.
No, it's gone.
No. Just leave it.
Is his first name Paul?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, leave it. But that means it probably is.
Honestly,
I'll get it.
Oh, you will get it. You will get it. I honestly, I can't remember his second name, but I'm almost certain the first his Christian name is Paul, but I might be wrong. So anyway, apart from it, Roughie, you are on form today, by the way. You really are.
Different class. He's different class. The guy.
It really is.
Different class.
I can't wait to go out and run a furlong with him later on. Anyway, apart from anything else.
And what's happening after it?
Yeah, what's up? I'll tell you what happens, Barry. Listen, here's the Scottish Football Writers Association are obviously going to be handing out the awards. So with that in mind, Roughie, You'll never believe it.
No, I just
Barry.
think we need to tell Barry. We need to tell Barry when things break down, we still can hear what he says.
Did he swear?
He was absolutely raging. He was raging.
He's swearing.
He was raging.
Oh, right, okay. On that note, if he has mentioned the sweary word, my apologies to everybody on Facebook and YouTube, of course. Sometimes,
and Fitz as well.
Yeah,
he's there.
Industrial. Yeah.
Stop swearing, Barry. We can still hear you.
I'm
See
honestly.
when the technology goes. When the technology goes, we can still hear you.
All right, sorry.
I know.
Apologise if I swear.
I know.
That's
I
pay as
did.
you go internet.
I know it's no good. No good, Tam.
Listen, can I tell you something? Gus McPherson, who's a regular viewer of the show, loves it, and we've had Gus on more than a few occasions. Roughie, he's a top man, and he has just mentioned to us the guy we were looking for was Paul Cooper.
Well done, Peter.
Very good.
Apologise to Peter, Roughie. Apologise to Peter.
Sorry, Peter, to your
Thank
knowledge. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and a big apology to all the journalists in Scotland for Roughie caning you as well. By the way,
No, not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them, just the ones.
Not all of them.
Just the ones who don't write the truth.
Okay, right there we are. We've
narrows
nailed
it
it.
down.
Yeah, exactly. He's hard hitting Roughie today. And Tommy Adams just says, Barry, no swearing, not the show for you. So there you are. There's a catchphrase and a half we've got for it. And also the mate of mine, Jim Lennon, who regularly watches the show as well, Tam. Now, Jim, as Roughie will know, Jim actually always gets the last invite for the chair at the PFA Player of the Year Awards. So when everybody else has been invited and we go to the PFA, Roughie, my big mate, I've been pals with him since we were at school. He sits there and the two of us get absolutely plastered and watch Barry and you and everybody networking, everybody, and we just sit there and have a good laugh. And he's just
Me and Barry were just at the bar last time, remember, Baz?
Yeah, I know. It wasn't a great company. Roughie was born at the last one.
Aye.
Yes, absolutely.
Born?
Yeah.
You went home early.
You know what?
The last 2 or 3 nights out, Peter.
Of course he has, and you know why, don't you? Once he realises his Dick Dastardly head is not on, he's out the door. Because the last thing he wants is mail company talking about football. So on that point, Jim Lennon says, is there any chance I can go to the Scottish Football Writers' Night Out with you? Unfortunately, that's going to be a virtual night out as well, Roughie. We can't even go to that one.
No, we certainly cannot. But you were telling us the other day that the sports writers are going to start throwing some names out for some of the awards, and they're going to send voting out, I think, as well. So
do you want the names?
We usually do it reverse order, don't you? Under 21's first, is that right?
Yeah. Would you want the names?
Okay. Are we not guessing? No.
No, this is for the nominations for the International Player. I know. This is for the International Player of the Year. So it's Ryan Christie. This is Scotland International Player of the Year. Okay. Ryan Christie, Callum McGregor, John McGinn, and Stevie Naismith. So who gets your vote, Roughie?
Probably John McGinn. Just shading Callum McGregor.
Yeah. Tam?
Yep. John McGinn for me. Love him. I think he's a top player. Celtic should have signed him.
Yeah, let it go, Tam, will you? Honestly, you're like a broken record. So you are. Honestly, you're unbelievable. Barry?
But to be honest, the three, Christie, McGregor and McGinn, it's a tough one to pick, but I'll go with the guys. John McGinn scored a few goals, and do you know what, Peter? He's been on to a different level since he's been down to Aston Villa, to be fair to him.
Yeah, John McGinn, fabulous player. George Ward says, Scottish lad from Glasgow, Celtic fan, now living in Liverpool. Absolutely love the show, love the banter, and even Ferguson is okay. That's when you know you're doing something right on the show. Even Ferguson, it's a grudging respect for you, Barry.
Yeah. I was
That's
going
life.
to. I was going to say earlier on, Peter, isn't it good and we're now in our own homes? Because if you start getting parcel deliveries at the office and Barry's name's on them, there's a fear of opening some of them up.
To be
But now
fair,
you're getting them. Now you're getting them in the house. You're all right.
yeah.
You're in a safe zone there.
The two,
What
the
road
two
you going down, Roughie?
Yeah, the two. I know, because the thing about it is, Baz, the amount of people now who actually have got to know you and actually realise, listen, it's football. It's only a sport. It's a game we love. I mean, I think 99% of the people who are on here, once they get to know somebody, perception and reality, I think is totally different. Ruffy, did you meet? There's a good question for every one of you guys. Did you meet someone in life who was a footballer who you had a perception of them because of either through media or people had said, and then you met them and you thought, wow, this is a different guy. I really like him.
Barry.
Peter, I'm the same.
Fire today.
I'm the same, Barry.
Yeah.
I hated him. I hated him on the park.
But hey, that's the way to be,
That's
Tam.
not true.
Aye.
You've got to be hated on the park.
Absolutely, Barry. That is the key to it all. You know, you would take 10 Barry Fergusons, 10 Scott Browns in a heartbeat, 10 Neil Lennons. You would absolutely take them. You wanted somebody who would absolutely give their all for your club and not accept any nonsense.
That was.
You know?
It's the
Peter,
same,
Peter.
with Neil Lennon. I mean, two of us at the same stage, captain in the clubs. I mean, when you crossed that white line, it was hatred. You just wanted to win for the team that you played with. But off the pitch, bumped into him a number of times, and you could sit and have a beer, and we'd have a chat. Totally different. But when you're on the pitch, as the guys know, it's all about winning and winning at any cost.
Yeah, there was one person, Peter, that you had a few runs in as well that I was totally terrified of. Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, I
The
get
persona
that.
of what he looked like and what he was away from it. But you had runs in with him. You know him more than me.
Yeah. Martin was one of those it's a strange situation, actually, because Martin, my job as a journalist at Radio Clyde and STV and Sky Sports was just quite simply, I was there to ask questions and not to pander to any players or managers. We were there to get answers on specific subjects. And, you know, Martin would come into a press conference and I'm fairly certain when he came in on a Friday, he looked at me and thought his Friday was spoiled. It's as simple as that.
It's the same as us today.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, my job is to get answers to questions, some of them. And I remember my old partner in crime, Hugh Keevans, who the two of us laughed heartily about it. Davy Prover and I would sit next to each other in a press conference and we would give them what for, managers and players, and they didn't like it because sometimes you have to ask difficult questions. I pride myself, Ruffy, on 30 years of being in the business. I certainly wouldn't pander to any club when it came to being a journalist and asking questions on things.
Can I tell you my favourite Neil Lennon story?
Fire away.
When I was on the previous life of the sports programme at Real Radio, when I worked with that fantastic journalist, that fantastic journalist who you know who I'm talking about. He called Neil Lennon a donkey.
He was hold on a minute. He was a presenter.
A presenter. He called Neil Lennon a donkey on air. And I went,
the Hearts fan.
No, the presenter on the show with me.
He was a Hearts fan.
Yes,
that's what
yes.
Tam's saying.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. He called him a donkey, right? So I said,
what's his name, Ruffy?
Okay, you and Cameron then, all right. He called him a donkey. He called him a donkey, so I'm going, I says, you can't do that, you know, because that'll come back and haunt you if you're going to press conferences. So lo and behold, a day later, I'm at Celtic Park and I'm presenting a charity trophy. And it was after training and everything. And I just happened to, I said to the boy, can you tell me where the nearest toilet is? And he said, just down the corridor. And you know how the corridors, Peter, at Parkhead are just big, long corridors up the up in the first floor, second floor. And I just came out the room. And I'm walking along the corridor, and who comes walking towards me but wee Lenny? And he's walking towards me, and all that's going through my head is I'm going to get hit here. He's going to say something. And as he came walking towards me, he just sort of walked by me 2 yards, and he went, "Hee-haw, hee-haw."
Martin,
absolutely brilliant. It was brilliant.
Martin was good company afterwards. I mean, he's good company. He's good patter. And afterwards, when he left Celtic, I got on great with him. I got on great with him. You know, there are some times when you just have to look beyond certain things that you have to ask people along the way. It's as simple as that. That's what happens in life. You know,
Peter, see what you're saying when you've got to ask difficult questions. I think you gain the respect of managers when you actually do that. I think you gain a bit of respect from them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, I get the stares. I've had the stare from Walter. I've had the stare from more than a few managers. Jim Jeffries gave me absolute pelters. Alec Miller as well, Roughie's favourite manager. You meet people along the way who give you absolute pelters for some of the questions you have to ask. But at the end of the day, you try and do your job, and there's lots of very good journalists, broadcast journalists, you know, the BBC, Sky, BT and that, who work away at their job and sometimes have to ask, and you know you're going to get it right on the chin. It's coming, Peter, and you just have to take it.
You were lucky you never get Jim McLean.
Well, that was an interesting one as well. Yeah, I do remember that actually, but... listen, I mean, I'm sure even Jim would have regretted that, in the aftermath of it all. But hey, to be fair to Digger, he took it right on the chin anyway, and then moved on. Yeah, absolutely. Strange days. Listen, what are you going to say, Roughie?
I think one of the best ones was Chick Young and Walter Smith. Brilliant. That was just you can't beat that.
Was that with
it's on YouTube.
Was that not with the centre half? What's his name again?
Basil Bolly.
Basil Bolly or something.
You can't call Basil Bolly a donkey chick. You can't. I mean, it's won a European Cup.
Yeah,
that was class.
Top drawer. Yep, Chico still laughs about it. Still took the cheque for working hard for the full week, which is fine. Which is fine by me. Anyway, now here's one. There's a classic. Pat. I mean, this is the way it works. Pat Burns says no one's asked Gerrard a decent question in 2 years. He gets off easy. Well, listen. It's an interesting point you make. I don't think he gets off easy. He's given a few journalists short shrift. And the fact of the matter is, this season coming, he's about to find out what it means to be a Rangers manager in this third year, Barry, because I think this is when the pressure cooker really gets turned up to 10.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind, Peter. This is pressure time when we do eventually get back to playing, and he needs to deliver. Look, I've got no doubt in my mind he knows that himself. So this is going to be the make or break season. It's going to be the one that he needs to deliver, and he'll know that, and he'll be letting the players know that as well, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. John Strelecki says, remember Big Jock Wallace giving the lad who wanted an interview on the pitch pelters? I mean, honestly, I kid you not. Jock Wallace would have been a real tough one to interview, to be perfectly honest with you. If you didn't speak to him right away and get the interview done. So lots of people giving us their thoughts on it. There's been a few people. Is there anyone you would be scared of interviewing, Roughie?
Not present day, but I think Jock Stein was a hard shift. Because obviously where he was and who he was, I think you had to ask the right questions. But no, you have to be brave. You have to sit down the front row. You have to be where you and me, Davy Provan, were. You have to be down there, and then everybody behind you, they all sit there and just, can't believe he asked that, And
I'll
that's
take
the way
that
it is.
as a news line, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yep, some things never change.
Peter,
you
down the front asking the questions?
Davey and I were there for 5-6 years. We were at the front of it, getting absolute pelters of managers up and down the country.
Roughie was not in the front. Roughie was at the back, 100%.
Absolutely.
I was
Yeah.
never.
By the way, Roughie was at the back because he was there with his former sidekick who had to be in the witness protection scheme because I think Barry was going to stiffen him at one point.
Not at one point, a number of times.
Anyway, any other people that you'd like to mention that you used to work with, Roughie?
No, that's I only generally talk about people who I got on well with.
Yeah. Brilliant, Roughie. Listen, there's a good story. Coming up, we'll get Paul Lambert. The other point I was going to make to you, and it's a good story, I was reading it today from, I think, the Scotsman newspaper. They had a chat with Jackie McNamara. He mentioned that obviously there was a fear that he would follow the same route as Davy Cooper with the brain hemorrhage, but because of the speed of the medical services, they were able to save him and the quick thinking of his wife. So he's on the road to recovery. I'm not sure if he's gone through what needs to be the final operation on the brain and the passageways and the clog that was there clearly, but certainly I think from everybody in Scottish football, I think Jackie mentioned, Barry, Celtic fans, Rangers fans, by the hundreds and thousands just wishing him well, and that puts football into perspective for me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but Peter, look, it was when the news got through to me that what happened with Jackie, it was now that it's great that he can talk about it, but he was under real pressure to survive it, and just thankfully he's come through it for himself and his family. But I'm not surprised that there's been many well-wishers, not just Celtic fans, but Rangers fans and all fans over the world. But it was crazy. It was a crazy 5 or 6 month, Peter. Dominic Mattel was the same. We were all in a group chat together, and the two of them suffered similar brain hemorrhages. So
yeah,
it's unbelievable. I'm just glad. Listen, see, the main thing, he's come through it and he's able to talk about it, and hopefully he's on the road to recovery. Because he's another one. Jackie had a few battles with him on the pitch. But off the pitch, he's a great guy.
Yeah, very down to earth, quiet, unassuming on the park. Anybody that tries to stick a bunch of fives on Mark Hateley's chin needs to have a bit about them. Tam McManus, that's all I'm telling you. It's as simple as that. Because even I wouldn't try and hit Mark, and he's a pal.
He was a great player, Jackie, as well. Again, I played against him when he was at Celtic and Hibs, and I probably know his dad better. His dad was assistant to Jim Duffy in at Hibs, Jackie McNamara Senior. I think Jackie came in one day and he came out the shower and his two testicles were black and blue. He'd fell down. He worked in a pub and he'd fell down the ladder to change the barrels and landed square on the ladder with his testicles. So he came out there. That's a sight I'll never forget. He came out and his two testicles were black and blue. I just thought I'd throw that story in.
Yeah, I never thought the programme was actually going to be.
No, did you fall for that old one, Tom? What? Did you fall for that old Jackie trick? Here, look at this, Tom.
Billy Bowerbank. I'm going to. Yeah, no, exactly. I'm not even going to give it any more time. I never thought we'd have a black and blue testicle story on the programme in the first place. Anyway, Billy Bowerbank, and the reason why I'm giving Billy a mention, he says it's getting boring, all about the old firm, 40 odd teams, but it's slimmed down to talking about two. That's why people are hacked off with the West Coast bias. Billy, again, the great thing about us reacting to comments like you've made there, what a lot of crap. Nonsense, Billy. Yesterday with James Keating's on talking for 15 minutes about Hibs winning the Scottish Cup. Billy, we try and react to everything that goes across the whole of Scottish football, and we react to the points of view, especially daft ones like the one you've just made, because if there's one thing about this programme, Tam McManus, is we talk about every club. We feature every club. We react to some of the points that people make who support clubs other than Celtic or Rangers.
No, absolutely. We speak about every club on here. Particularly Celtic Hearts, who seem to get a great mention every week. But no, listen, we speak about everyone. There's no Celtic or Rangers bias in here. If you meet a point and we'll go and speak about it.
Yeah, absolutely. James Marshall says, hi, it was the other day that it was Kilmarnock non-stop. It was boring. You can't win. It's as simple as that.
The best one was the boy from Motherwell. No, the best one was the boy from Motherwell when he came on and he went, just as you said there, all you do is talk about Rangers and Celtic. And you said to him, well, who do you support? And he went, oh, Motherwell. And he went, well, you're on now. What do you want to talk about? He went, oh, nothing.
Exactly. Listen, and by the way, I was just actually thinking about it, guys. Do you know how many weeks we've been in lockdown on this show in this current format?
10 weeks?
Tops.
Yep.
9 weeks, Barry. We've had 45 guests, all of them from across every spectrum of Scottish football.
Brilliant.
All the clubs. Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Dundee United. We've even had Jim McInally up there at Peterhead.
9 going for 10 next week. Well,
I don't think Barry will be here for that one.
I've got things on next week.
Yeah. I know you have. Listen, it's Daniel Stendhal mentioned.
Peter, can I just say something, Peter?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's great. See, Tuesday and a Thursday tuning into the show. I think it's great. I'll be honest with you. It's not just about the old firm. You talk about all sorts. It's great. It's a great listen when you're out potting about in the garden.
Oh, showing off. Got a garden, eh? I'm great.
He's got 25 acres.
Now.
Yes.
26.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't start. You'll get nothing but abuse on here when it comes.
I know.
The other thing I was going to say was Daniel Stendhal mentioned something, and this was in the running order here. Daniel Stendhal mentioned that resigned. He's resigned in his mind to Hearts playing in the Championship next season. Whether he'll be the manager or not, I have my doubts on it. So I thought I'd highlight to you guys the 5 key games that kind of nailed Hearts this season. Roughie, we put in the Hearts Derby win there because, quite simply, the Derby win, the win against Rangers, in the end, strangely enough, that buys managers time in his career as manager, but it doesn't actually paper over the cracks of how dismal they were to watch.
Yeah, you're right. Let's be honest, they're a really, really poor season by Hearts' standards. Particularly at home, where we all know it's always a hard place to go and get a win. But these big results, against obviously Hibs and Rangers, just clouded how bad it was. But when you get these kind of results, you sort of hang on to them and think, all right, let's build on that. But they never ever built on it. Actually, when they got a big win, the next result was always a really, really poor one. So that's been their downfall.
Yeah, big thanks to Matthew on Facebook. Says, "Oh, you're not talking about Hearts again, are you?" But Tam, I know you wanted to save them. I certainly wanted to save them. I still hope they can be saved. But I'll tell you one thing. If they are going to get anywhere next season, if they're trying to get out of that Championship, they've got to go for my old mate, Robbo. I think he is the one man that can turn them around.
Yeah, listen, I don't think Stendhal will be there next season, regardless. I just don't get the vibe coming out that he's wanting to hang around. I agree with you. If they go down in the Championship, the number one guy that should be going for would be John Robertson. He's got great experience in that division. He's a Hearts legend. You maybe bring in somebody like Gary Locke or Gary Naismith, come in beside him and an assistant. They've all got Hearts in their blood. And the fans would get them on side right away, and it would really build momentum again at Hearts. And they need a clear out anyway, regardless of what division they're in. That squad needs gutted because they've got some very, very average players there earning big money and on 3 and 4 year contracts. I mean, it beggars belief why they handed that kind of money out and why they handed those contracts out, and it's really, really, it's sinking them at the moment.
Yeah, I can't believe that the situations, if you to look back, for me personally, on the Hearts issue, and I actually would go back to Edinburgh. I mean, I've got a soft spot for the whole of Edinburgh. I love the city. I spent 12 years there. I would go back regularly when we were watching football and we were actually allowed to go to football. And I thought Hearts were dire. I thought Anne Budge was wrong to stick with Craig Levein too long. She should have sacked him. She should have taken him completely out of the equation anywhere near Hearts and then gone for Robbo to come in and change it then. She should not have waited. I thought she was ill-advised. Whoever had her ear made a huge mistake. Craig Levein took her down a road signing players, inflated wages. I think Stephen McLean at 35 got a 2-year deal. They were offering people deals that should never have been in place, put themselves in all sorts of bother with players that were not good enough for Hearts. And then the style of football, Barry, was absolutely murder to watch. I was sitting there thinking, how can anybody buy a season ticket to watch this? And then, of course, they wait 4 or 5 weeks, bring in a guy I'd never heard of who wanted to play a high-pressing game with a group of players who weren't even capable of putting 3 passes together, never mind a high-pressing game. It was just one catastrophic decision after another.
Yeah, but in terms of Anne Budge, Peter, I think when the dust settles and we get rid of this virus, I think she will. I like the way she comes across, and she's done pumped a lot of money into Hearts, and she's a really good businesswoman. I think she will admit she has made some mistakes, and listen, there's no shame in that. But in terms of managers, I'm with you. I thought they should have went for a guy who knows the club inside out. It's not just because he's a legend. Look, he's went down, and I think he's worked miracles up at Inverness, Robbo. I really do, with the budget they've got up there. And if they don't get a Robbo in, you've got another guy. If he doesn't get the Northern Ireland job, I think Tommy Wright's a good shout as well. I think they need to get somebody that knows the Scottish game, Peter, because for me, Hearts should be up challenging for European places. There's no doubt in my mind. Great stadium, great training facilities. They're just needing the right guy to grab the club by the scruff of the neck and take them forward now.
Okay, listen, Paul Lambert's on the way, but before that, we are going to get, I hope we're going to get a fabulous story out of Roughie. Guys, I know you love a Roughie story. Every now and then he comes out with a nugget that we all enjoy, and hopefully he's going to give us one after we watch this little video about a man who would have been 74 today. One of the finest players to ever grace British football was George Best. Roughie, very special player. The amount of people of your generation who talk about him, just a genius.
Yeah, he certainly was a genius. I remember one of the first games that we played. We just took the centre, and I always liked a touch of the ball quite early on in the game. And the ball came all the way back to me right at the start. Only played about 30 seconds. And George came up to me and said, "Give me the ball." And I said, "George, look, I can't give you the ball here. You're on the 18-yard line." No, he said, "Just give me the ball." So I gave him the ball, and I'm not joking. He went by about 6-7 players, and he had a shot in the other half. It was just, everybody just in awe of. It was that style he had. It was that sort of a swagger. He just drifted by people. He could sell that dummy to anybody, and it was just absolutely fantastic. And that was right at the end of his career. I just can't imagine what he'd be at the top of it. And we've already discussed it. What was it? He retired at 26, was it?
Yeah, 27.
26, something like that. It was just couldn't imagine it at all. But I bumped into him again down at that competition I was telling you about, Superstars. and George was one of the members of that, and he was going out with Mary Stavrin at the time, the Miss World, and she was down there as well. And after one of the days that we finished doing all the stuff, canoeing and shooting and everything, he said to me, he said, Roughie, he said, is there any chance you're looking after Mary Stavrin for me the night? I've got to go and do something. And I says, no problem at all, George. And we went out for a meal, and I had a meal with Miss World that night, and she's a very charming girl. Great night. Thanks, George.
Good to see you looked after, Roughie. A gentleman is always out, I presume.
Yeah, and he was a gem. Honestly, Tam, he was an absolute star. And he, like Peter was saying, that you meet people who are fearsome and you don't want to meet them. But when you meet somebody like George Best, you know, what a guy was off the park as well. He was superb.
You know, I was so looking forward to that story there, and
fantastic story, Peter.
I missed it completely, honestly.
Well, you can watch it. You can watch it the night on Sky.
I'm going. You know, the funny thing about it was, I was about to say to you, the first story you told us, I thought that was a rubbish story. Give us a story about Miss World, and then you started talking about Mary Stavrin, and I cut out, and I thought, no, was it a good story, Tam?
It was very good. The gentleman is always Roughie. I can just imagine George Best and Roughie on a night out. Oh, that'd be carnage.
Oh, absolutely. But you were.
Roughie, did you have many nights out with him?
Yes, and I felt sorry for him, because whenever we went out at nights out, you know, and obviously there's a lot of drink in the table and everything, because all the players would all go. The photographer's always focused on what he was drinking, and he wasn't drinking any more than anybody else, but they would take photographs from an angle that it looked as if it was him that had drank the 10 bottles of red wine or whatever it was, and that was some of the. That was the rest of it. That was Jackie Mac. That's that night when I fell into the trap with Jackie McNamara, and he said, "Here, have a look at these."
for anybody who's come into this show late, you've missed what Tam McManus was saying earlier. You'll never get the gist of that joke. Anyway, Ronnie Chapman has mentioned there. He says, "Can you give a shout out to my dad, Peter Chapman? It's his birthday." Yes, indeed we can. And listen, hope he has a great day. And thanks to everyone on Facebook. Don't forget to like, share, and follow us. And of course, over and above that, don't forget on our YouTube channel, the figures we've had just have gone through the roof. The show, followers, everybody who's subscribing on YouTube as well. We want to thank you because people watching this on a daily basis now, it's absolutely magnificent. So we really are happy for your support, Barry, Tam, and of course Roughie and myself. So with that in mind, got to mention to you guys, what are you up to at the weekend, Baz? Is it just sit in, have a few glasses of red?
Yeah, Peter, it's just the normal. Just have a few drinks, watch the normal, Peter. That's it. I'm just looking forward to next week. We can get out and play a bit of golf, and I'm sure you and Roughie can play a bit of tennis. I've seen that as well. So I'm looking forward to getting out and doing something different, because it's a bit monotonous now. But a few glasses.
Get us a game, Barry. A game of golf.
Yep, not a problem. Then we'll play tennis and beat these two at tennis.
Aye.
No chance.
Listen, Tam, Tam, order that racket. You're going to batter these two.
What with the racket?
I'll play the first set with one of my big frying pans. Just to level up a bit.
Roughie, I tell you right now, even if you played with a frying pan, we'd still win. It's as simple as that. Anyway, that's magnificent. Listen, Tam, what are you? Listen, I don't know about you, Tam, but I'm lost now that Last Dance series is finished. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't think Barry's seen it yet. It was absolutely outstanding. I mean,
no, I'm starting it tonight, Tam. That's
No,
what I'm on.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous of that because it was outstanding. It's one of the best series I've ever watched. It was a wee bit of glitz and glamour in there as well. The Hollywood stars that used to go and watch them, and brilliant series. I'll just be chilling out again, Peter, watching the telly and that, and just I'm looking forward to next week when we can go out and get the golf clubs out. That's what I've been really looking forward to, and getting out and about and getting a wee hit of the ball. I think that'll make me cheer me up a good bit as well.
Yeah, Roughie, I have to say to you, by the way, you need to find somebody that can get us a tennis court. We need to get on the old tennis court somewhere.
Barry must have won.
Oh, we could
Barry's the
play.
one
You
he's
could
getting.
play. You could play in Barry's tennis. His five-a-side football park.
Aye.
There's no point in mentioning that. Tam hasn't been to the house, Roughie. He doesn't know what we're talking about. So it's as simple as that, So that's another thing he's missed out on. Listen, earlier on I caught up with the Ipswich Town manager, Paul Lambert, to get his thoughts on his predicament at the moment and, of course, memories of his old team. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Ipswich Town manager Paul Lambert. We know him from great days at St Mirren, Motherwell, Celtic, and of course, let's not forget Borussia Dortmund. But it's a totally different role for you now, Paul. Is it fair to say you're trying to kickstart a sleeping giant?
Yeah, I think any football club, Peter, when you go into it, the reason you get jobs is obviously something's failed somewhere along the line. And it's a brilliant club. I've always said that about it. It's a great club, some really great people at it, great set of legend guys at it. Terry Butcher, John Watt, Mick Mills, Russell Osman. The great team of the 80s have created a history here. But it's a great club. It's just lost its way a little bit, and we'll try our best to try and give it some success.
I'm so glad you are not quite as old as me, but you started rhyming off names that I used to collect in my chewing gum cards. Tyson, Murin, Paul Mariner, Alan Brazil, Eric Gates. I mean, that's the legends of the past. Do the fans have higher expectations with every manager that comes in, with every team that they analyse, or are they well aware of what you're trying to do now?
I think they realise where the club has fell from. And the great players that you mentioned there took the club to an incredible height. And Sir Bobby Robson, and the stories I've heard down here have been brilliant. They're really, really great. And I was the same as you. I grew up watching that team in the 80s, so I know all about it. I knew the history of the club behind it. The fan base is huge, over 20,000 people in our stadium, which is great for a League One side. So they knew that the club had fell from a great height, and it was just trying to give them the love back for the club. I think that was important, was to get them enjoying their football again. The gates went up really, really quickly, and that's a barometer of how you judge it. And if you can get the people coming through the gate, then you're halfway there.
You're trying to put a younger team together. Has the lockdown and ultimately, I think, the end of League One season just scuppered the momentum that you were building?
Well, I think so, because I reckon we'd have a full squad coming back from injury, and we lost some really key players, really big players for us, and we lost them at a vital time. We were top of the league at the end of January. We lost a few lads at that time. We lost our momentum, and that hurt us. But I still believe if the league was to go, and we have 8 games to go, 5 at home, we would give a right good run to get into the playoffs, because we would have everybody back fit. But it doesn't look like if that's going to happen.
Yeah, just picking up on that point, Paul, we're in a situation where clubs in Scotland, certainly I look at it closely in England as well, and the government recommendations and the medical opinion on this. Testing, tracking, tracing is something that everybody would need to be vigilant on, and then a vaccination as well. So it doesn't look as if fans are going to be in stadiums anytime soon, if not this year, certainly to the start of next year. Financially, do you think there are clubs in serious financial difficulty that could find it difficult to continue down south the way we fear up here?
There must be, Peter. I think that's I agree with all the points you're saying there. How do you let fans come into your stadium without a vaccine is a real contentious subject on that. I'm pretty sure everybody were trying the hardest to get that, and the clubs, the smaller clubs, and who can't sustain it. I think there'll be major talks here on how they're going to sustain in existence. Really, that's where they need help. They need help from the Premier League. I've said it before. The Premier League's got to help. They've got to show some sort of togetherness where they can put some money down to the lower league levels and the smaller teams. So they're vital for, as everybody's touched on it, the community, the mental health of people. It's absolutely vital. Football plays a big part of the community, and I think that's important that down in England anyway, that the Premier League does certainly help.
Just on that point, Martin O'Neill mentioned that he thinks some of the obscene money that's been quoted for players could become a thing of the past, or at least be put into perspective nowadays. Do you think players' expectations of wages, contract terms, and of course the fees should be looked at seriously?
I think they will. I think that's 100% going to happen, and I think long term it'll be good for the good of the game. I think mediocrity gets rewarded too much now, Peter, and I'm the way of, you want to win things and then you get rewarded. People can get rewarded now just for turning up. I don't think that's right for sport, for competitive sport, because the game's about winning, and you get rewarded for no winning or winning major titles. I think that's where it will separate a lot of things, and I'm glad that might come into fruition. So I don't think the money will definitely be the same, and I certainly think there'll be a tendency of you have to win to make good money.
Talking about winning, your old teammate's doing not too bad. He's just secured 9 in a row. Neil Lennon is the talk of the town up here.
Do you know what? I always say this. People asked me that the other day, what it was like stopping the 9 in a row, and the pressure that time was incredible. And for me, that was the hardest title in my time that to win, without a doubt, because Vim had put a team together in 1 year. The football club had lost people like Paul McStay, who was a legend at the football club, and Peter Grant, guys like that. They'd lost those type of guys, and Vim put a team really, really quickly. And to stop the 9 in a row, the pressure against, and it's got the Rangers team, Peter, as you probably know, the Rangers team of that era were brilliant. Gaza, Loudrup, Coisty, they were all there. And what we done was an extraordinary achievement to stop the 9 in a row. Now Rangers having to stop Celtic do the 10 in a row, I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure with that team they've got at the minute. Stephen's got a hard job up there anyway, regardless. Try to stop 10 in a row, try to get 1 in a row is hard enough, let alone 10. But Lenny, delighted for him. He knows the club inside out. I played 5 great years with him, and delighted for him. He came through a hard time at Bolton, which every manager has to come through at certain times. But still, the bottom line is Celtic have been the best team for the last 9 years, whatever it says. It's, regardless of Rangers won in the league or not, Celtic have been miles ahead on the pitch, and more importantly on the pitch.
Yeah, and just picking up on that point, I know down south, Steven Gerrard, for his playing career, is rightly revered by everybody. He was absolutely top drawer and idolised by many who talk about him with great affection. But as you know yourself, because you watched Rangers when they're winning their 9 in a row, they had such a huge amount of cash at their disposal. I just get the feeling, Paul, looking at the side that Stephen's got at the moment, and he has progressed them, if he doesn't get major investment, I wonder how they're going to topple Celtic.
Peter, it's the same as my time. Role reverse this. Role reverse it. Rangers, as I said before, had a brilliant side, no matter what way you want to look at it. As I said, I mentioned a few guys up. Loudrup, Coisty, Stuart McCall, George Alberts, Ferguson was there, Goffey was there, Andy Gorham. What a really top side, Rangers side that was. My point of the thing is, we were 1 year really together. Yeah, Lottie's played with the national team, which certainly helped. And obviously with Henrik and that up front, and we just gelled really, really good together. And we were a small squad, but we had a great, I think, inner drive to try and stop the 10 in a row. Now, Stephen will know himself up there. As a Rangers and Celtic player, manager, however you want to view it, you're only as good as your last game or your last pass if you're playing. And if you don't have success at the Old Firm, you're going to feel the pressure. But that's the nature of the beast up there. I think that's the big thing. So I know exactly what you're probably going through, thinking he's not won a trophy. He's took them so far and how they're performing. But ultimately, you haven't won, and that's where the Rangers fans will judge him on.
And with that in mind, Neil came in at a difficult time, second time around, taking over from Brendan Rodgers. He's built a side. You'll know what he's like. He'll be itching for 10 in a row because of the type of person he is. But I think he'll also want to try and build a side that could somehow just create another few special nights in Europe.
I think that's what Celtic's built on, Peter, and is winning titles in the cup competitions and trying to have a run at Europe, which is getting more and more difficult every single year with the standard of teams and money that's involved in it. But you know yourself, covering Celtic in nights in Glasgow, it's a really tough nut to crack to win there, and with the support that it's got, because they drive you on, and Lenny knows that as a player, he knows it as a manager, that it doesn't matter who turns up to Celtic Park, the Celtic fans expect you to win. I think what's happened now is that there's a realism of where can Celtic really compete with Barcelona or Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United. It's really tough for them just because of the finances, but when they're in Europe, it's a really tough nut to crack to win at Parkhead, that's for sure.
Yeah, can you see him getting 10 in a row?
Yeah, as it stands at the minute, yeah, because I think they'll get better. I think momentum. I think they've got the bit between the teeth of, if we do this one again, that's it. We're in the history books. Where the Rangers lads will have it is an incredible churning in your stomach, knowing that you have to win, knowing that you have to win at Parkhead, knowing you have to go to Pittodrie and win, knowing you have to go to places, and that's where I think it'll go in Celtic's favour, because they lads will just go and play with no real great pressure on them as such as to win games. They know how to win, and that's why I think they'll get it.
Just on the point of great games of the past, European games, 21st of May sticks in a lot of players' heads. Strangely enough, Celtic fans don't look upon Seville as painful, yes, because they would like to have won it, the UEFA Cup, but they look upon it as just the culmination of a great journey all the way there. I don't think they look upon it with any kind of feeling of looking upon it as a failure. It was almost a pilgrimage to them.
It was a failure to us. I think if you ask any of us, we failed, and that was the bottom line. We failed, and did we bring our A game to the table that night? Probably not, or we would have won it. And that was a disappointing thing. I think for me, the stadium was never big enough, Peter, to hold it. I don't think it was a great stadium to play that UEFA Cup final. Whoever made the decision to play in Seville should have looked at the Celtic support and thought, hang on a minute, they play in front of 60,000 people every other week. The stadium's not big enough. The pitch certainly wasn't good enough. That was just relayed, and it hadn't knitted together, and it wasn't really watered either. It wasn't good, the field. I'm not saying that was the catalyst we lost. I just didn't think we performed as well as we could on that given night. We gave everything we had. That goes without saying, but just that given night, it just wasn't there. But you've got to give the Celtic fans credit, because over, nearly 100,000 of them travelled and not won a rest, and they got the award for it. It was sad that we never got it, because I think the scenes at that stadium that night was, you could have built another stadium and they'd have took it over, and that's where I find it a bit strange, and it was a bit gone, and that's the biggest regret I've got in football, really. There's no winning that. So I know you're saying it was a great thing for the Celtic fans, but it's it was horrible to lose it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I mean, I'm sure every Celtic fan feels the pain of the event and the day itself, but they look at the tremendous effort of seeing off a Blackburn, seeing off a Liverpool, seeing off a Boavista. They understand the enormity of getting there. Interestingly enough, just picking up on that point you made, I see images, and one of them sticks in my mind is you walking past the UEFA Cup with your medal on, and it was written all over your face, the pain. Henrik Larsson said, like you, Henrik Larsson was a Champions League winner, but he said, I would have given anything just to deliver that UEFA Cup to the Celtic fans.
Yeah, and I think I know where Henrik's coming from. I think the pain of it, or the great, and I can only speak for myself. To have won 2 European medals would have been an incredible achievement for myself. Coming from Glasgow, a small part in Glasgow, and playing in 2 European finals would have been a dream. But ultimately, to do something for your own country and your own team in Glasgow and trying to be remembered as a good player there would always be the forefront of your mind. And to lose that and to maybe become the second best team under the Lisbon Lions, because it's only the real Celtic team that's got a European final again. And I think that team that you're mentioning there was certainly what a side they were. We were strong, we were good, we were really quick. We had everything really. And when it came to the big final push, we just fell short. But listen, it took a really good team to beat us. They all came. Juventus came, Bayern came, went to Liverpool, we beat them. Blackburn, we beat them. It was never a team really we thought we were frightened of. We just thought we could take most of them on.
Yeah, and you fell short against a team that eventually went on to win the Champions League as well, which kind of puts it into perspective. Is there one particular moment that sticks in your mind that you love from that run?
I thought Anfield was brilliant. I thought Anfield was absolutely fantastic. I thought we were excellent that night, and the way we started the game, I thought really laid a marker. I thought the Anfield game was great, and that was billed probably, if you want to call it Battle of Britain or two really good sides at that time, and we got the lead, and that we just went on from there, and then John scores the winner. So for me, the Liverpool game I thought was absolutely brilliant.
Do you still stay in touch with all the boys? I was with a few of them a couple of months ago and had a right good laugh. As you would expect, Paul, I gave them absolute pelters. You'll be happy to know Johan Mjällby still looks as if he could play right now.
I know. Listen, I saw him on television. I know he must have about 19 million sunbeds, I think, Johan, at the minute. I think he's looking rather brown at the minute. I met the lads, believe it or not, a lot of them, sadly, Liam Miller's time, game against Man United, and it's a great way to meet people, but a lot has turned up for that game, which was great. I text with Jackie the other week there to see how he was getting on, so there's still some of the lads we speak to. I think when you have these special moments, and it definitely was as strong as what it was, I don't think that will ever go away. Tomo as well, so guys that I've spoke to and seen, Tommy Johnson as well. So we had some great times and great moments.
Yeah, Barry, you can relate to that because I don't think you will ever forget all the players that you played with in the UEFA Cup final.
No, just what Lambo said there, Peter. It's like he played in a special team, and that team, it probably wasn't the best footballing team I played in, but it was a team full of character, Peter. And I still keep in contact with some of the boys. Obviously, some go on to obviously go away back to where they came from abroad, but still keep in contact with them, and they sorts of games always live in your memory. But like Lambo, it's disappointing. We never brought our A game that night. We were disappointing on the night, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. Zenit were better than us, so that's a big disappointment that we never produced the sort of performance we did in the quarter-final and the semi-finals.
Listen, guys, we're just about to go. All I'm going to say to you is, Tam, tonight you're going to find out if indeed there was a deflection on the ball when Johnny Rep hit it from about 35 yards. I think tonight, Tam, on the old BBC, they're showing Scotland against Holland. Am I right, Roughie? Is it tonight?
Yeah, I think Tam Cowan said it's on tonight. It's a full game, believe it or not. And I says to Tom, if he gets a chance to watch the first 45 minutes, we could have been about 3 or 4 up, but never took our chances and paid the price.
Are you playing, Roughie?
Yeah, I'm on the part. Yeah, I was there. Yeah. Yeah.
Roughie, can I just say something to you?
To this.
Oh,
you're
got to watch
watching this.
It's hard to explain to you two what it's like to be at a World Cup, really. No.
Roughie, that is magnificent. Listen, I'll tell you right now, Tam, and he's being a little bit humble in the whole thing here, but I'll tell you right now, and Roughie, you'll agree with me on this, and Tam and Barry probably will not understand this because you guys weren't born at the time. But in 1978, Roughie, when Archie Gemmell scored that goal, I remember as a boy thinking, we are going to do this. After all the carnage, we are going to beat Holland and we are going into the next round. There was that moment when he chipped the goalie, didn't he?
Yeah, there's a bit after when RG Gemmell scores that goal. If you do watch it, Graham Souness is actually, I think he's looking at Asa Hartford to say one more. And that's all we needed was one more. We obviously the goal difference, and they were on their knees then. But obviously, the rep hit that
Roughie
shot.
threw one in.
And I've said that. I've said this numerous of times. I still, if I shut my eyes now.
What you on about? You shut your eyes when he hit it.
No, when he hit it. When he hit it, I cannot believe I get so much in my hand to it. I really thought I'd put it over the bar, and when I turned around and saw it in the back of the net, I couldn't believe it. I get so much hand on it, I just couldn't believe it. But you got to remember the altitude and everything. Makes the balls dip a lot over there.
Come on,
here we go.
There's a really horror bit in the game where I think it was one of the Dutch players came through on me, and I anticipated him cutting it back, and I left my near post. Honestly, see if that had went in. What a shocker that they're being honest. I actually dived out the way of the ball. It's the way you see it if you watch it.
Oh, don't worry about it. Not only are we watching it, we're taping it. No. It's as simple as that.
Are you watching it? Roughie, you going to watch it yourself?
No. I never. I watch the highlights. I'm not going to sit for 90 minutes. I watched maybe the World Cup. I watched maybe the World Cup in Spain, or where was the other one? Mexico. I watched one of these. There's that many. I've got a choice.
You know what? Roughie, you've got to watch it. You've got to watch it.
Okay, well, I watched the first half. The first half is brilliant, and to this day. The Dutch, that was never a penalty kick. The Dutch penalty kick. Stuart Kennedy never touched the boy.
Yeah, okay, we're going to watch it.
Rensenbrink.
Robbie Rensenbrink, yeah.
Robbie Rensenbrink, aye.
Yeah, but steady yourself, he's watching. Now, listen, we're going to watch it, and all I'm going to say to you, Tam, is it was a fantastic Scotland strip. I loved it. It had the big giant Scotland badge, and then it had Scotland and Argentina World Cup written in it. It was a brilliant strip, and then it had the Umbro down the sides. It's one of my favourite Scotland strips of all time, and I was there, Tam, and as a wee boy, if you think about this, Gemmell scores, and I'm thinking we're going to make it, and I'm filled with so much optimism, and then to see myself sob uncontrollably, and my mum is trying to lift me because of him. She's saying, come on, it's not that bad. And I remember looking at my mum and the tears are running down my face, but I said, but who picked him? He plays for Partick Thistle. Who picked him? Look, how can you miss the ball from 35 yards? And that was it. I was just shattered, Tam. It's as simple as that.
And now you're best mates. Amazing footballer.
It's unbelievable. That's what happens. Yeah, there's hope for us all. Anyway, on that note, we've rammed in everything. We've talked about Hearts, talked about Kilmarnock. We've mentioned Gus McPherson. We've mentioned the Hibbies. We've mentioned Celtic and Rangers as well. Mentioned as many clubs we possibly can. What more do you want? Don't forget to like, share, and follow us, please, on our Facebook page. And of course, if you get a chance, subscribe to the YouTube. You guys have a great weekend. Stick to the rules. Stay safe. Stay at home. Stick to what the First Minister is telling you, and we'll all get out of this safely, hopefully, fingers crossed, at some point. But we're going to be here with you. Thanks to Barry. Thanks to Tam McManus and Roughie. From myself, Peter Marston. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.